The young man, without any advanced planning, drops his fork, and the next second dinner is over. His stepfather doesn't let it slide. He shuts the door and continues teaching him a lesson. His woman, who actually gave birth, knows about thieviolence but doesn't know what to do. She lets it happen, believing it will teach him to be more, always following all orders and rules. After the what people commonly call a, not really a lesson, the young man Eric, filled with anger over being mistreated, is forced to shake hands with his stepfather, making up with the man who just beat him. These beatings happen all the time. His life is filled with violence, but violence only breeds more violence to a Breck. Isinger. Eric starts beating up his at school. Eric completely zizz it and beats his friend to a pulp. Others just stand by music, watching. No one dares to get involved. Help, too scared of Eric's violent reputation for his temper. Eric gets into fights often. After the fight, the school principal finally has enough. He calls Eric into his office and immediately tells him there is no more tolerance for his misbehavior. But Eric doesn't care. As he is leaving, the principal makes a threat. Meanwhile, Eric's mother has sawed some of the family's artwork to set up a fund for him, hoping he can finish his education later. Eric's mother tells him to go meet her friend, Gunnar, a lawyer. Gunnar hands Eric his business card and tells him to call if he ever needs help. Eric, confused, just stares at the card, unsure of what to say. After Gunnar leaves, his mother admits she is disappointed in him for getting expelled. Then she drops Thebome. She has already enrolled him in a new school. This new place is called Starberg, an all-boys boarding school. His mother makes it clear this is his last chance. She expects him to take this opportunity seriously and not mess up again. Eric nods, promising to do better this time. He swears he'll graduate without getting expelled again. When Eric arrives at his new school, he's dressed in a uniform and his hair is cut short. His new roommate is Pierre, the smartest student in school. The two hit it off, and Eric quickly understands, makes real, achieves. Pierre a friendly and easy to get along. With this, night falls. Eric and Pierre rush to hall for dinner. It's here that Eric meets another student named Johan Hodelsson. That every school has expeditions. At this school, your treatment depends completely on your social status. Just as Johan finishes speaking, the student sitting next to Eric is suddenly called out by two other students seated at the far end of the table. Otto and Olin. The student who has just called comes from an ordinary family, while Otto and Elaine are the sons of rich kings and queens. Being from noble asterisk families, Otto and Ailing often bully their students from less, enjoying a lot of special treatment, money, and other advantages in life backgrounds, like the one who's been sitting next to Eric. Otto and Olin act without being punished because their families hold important influence over the school, meaning they don't fear forcing something out or away under pressure. They are also part of the student group of people who advise or govern, which gives them the authority to punish other students. After dinner, Pierre invites Eric to join him for a smoke. At first, Eric declines, reminding him of the promise he made to his mother not to break any rules. Johan then warns that if they get caught, the punishment will be extreme, but Pierre promises to Eric they won't get caught, and after some convincing, Eric gives in. The next morning at breakfast, Otto and Della call Eric over. They want to give him a welcoming beginning of something actions you do to get into an organization, as it's tradition for all new students, but Eric refuses completely. Total echoes of this, Johan is forced to toss. The results, Otto strikes Johan in the head, leaving him so hurt that he's eventually taken away by medical staff for treatment. That Otto and Delan are getting ready for Randathor round of making people do dangerous things before they'll be accepted into an organization, this time aimed directly at Eric. They call for him to their headquarters and order him to clean up a pile of dirty shoes on theft floor. Eric, however, fights against them once again and walks out immediately. Extremely angry, turns to Otto and asks how they should deal with Eric. Otto still relaxates Dylan to leave Eric alone. Forno. Later, Eric tells Pierre everything that happened. His roommate's expression suddenly grows tense. Pierre warns Eric not to disobey Otto and Dylan anymore. According to Pierre, students who fight against their orders always face punishment. Eric, who was once a bully himself, lifts both shoulders. It's off, claiming he isn't afraid of them. Insists that he will never follow all off their orders. That night, Eric and Pierre Sudin, great idea, ways to stand up to atoned Dalla's bullying without using violence, but it seems almost impossible. Most students prefer to exactly follow them rather than end up bruised and beat. The next day, Dalen, without any advanced planning, bumps into Eric while walking down the school hallway. Travel path. Dalen demands an apology, but Eric refuses because he feels he didn't do anything wrong. It was Dalen who ran into him. This makes very angry Dahl, who then sees Eric to a fight at Escalating name spot. That night, later, Pierre and Johan invite Eric to the location Dalen talked about. Said Pierre warns Eric that Otto and Della never fight fair. They always call in friends to gang up on their fighters against someone or something. Fate meaning Eric at first plans to expect Dallas challenge and fight with him, but changes his mind when he remembers his mother's opinions about what could or should be done about a situation to behave well in order to graduate from school. Back in the room, Pierre offers Eric a cigarette to help reduce his tension. Meanwhile, Otto and Delay wait at the battleground for hours when Eric never shows up. Otto, proud and snobby, decides that Eric is to Curletto fight making fun of him as a rat to the ears of their person who is ridiculously overhelpful to another person. The next day, Otto publicly says bad things about students who've regularly all the time disobeyed the orders of the student organization, and Eric is at the top off that list in a practice trial. Otto's the student group of people who advise or govern president legal punishments, time spent being punished. Eric to a full month of detention and orders him to dig a 1 meter deep trench. The school Eric works on that trench until late, so he ends up eating dinner alone in the hall because his job isn't completed on time. While Eric eats, a self-serve restaurant worker named Mary approaches him. Maria seems very interested by Eric, telling him that he reminds her of her brother. She goes on to explain that like Eric, her brother, had the same angry and uncooperative point of view, way of behaving, refusing to bow down to authority as usual. Eric smokes a bit after his meal. This time Mario surprises him by showing up again. She warns Eric that smoking isn't good for his health, saying how she heard, became aware of the scent. Then Maria unexpectedly kisses and hugs him. Both Eric and Maria know full well that school strictly forbids any romantic relations between students and staff. The results are extreme. Eric would have expelled, and Maria would be immediately fired. But that night, neither of them cares about the rules during the Christmas break. Eric returns home. His mother welcomes him warmly, but his stepfather does not feel the same. Grills Eric about the many punishments he's received, including being suspended from school. Eric answers honestly. He has refused to follow theaters of another student who happens to be the son of a powerful noble family. At school, his stepfather insulted, made fun of his explanation, saying that a noble household be treated with respect and quality, where all rules and orders are followed because of his poor report card and the punishments he's lasted through tolerated. Actual Eric's stepfather whips him again. His mother, knowing her son's suffering, turns a blind eye. When Christmas break ends, Eric finally returns to school. The first thing he does is rush to see Miraz. He has deeply missed her under the moonlight. The two reunite, holding each other close, expressing their badly wanting each other. Meanwhile, learning that Eric is back at school, Otto and Dala and Again plot a prank. This time, they plan to pour dirty water on Eric, while Hesley pays. Their plan definitely, as one would expect, does not fail. Eric and Pierre wake up immediately and clean up the mess. But Eric isn't about to stay silent this time. He wants payback. Eric takes the remaining dirt, sneaks into Otto's room, turns off their lamps and dumps it all over him, while Hess sleeps the next morning in the dining hall. Eric makes a point of speaking loudly so that everyone can hear their look. He asks, sniffing the air very much. He wanders around the room pretending to follow the scent before finally stopping right in front of Otto, who is eating breakfast. Eric then loudly declares, "Stink." You hearing this, Otto flies into a rage, extremely angry that Eric has dared to embarrass him in front of everyone. Otto punches Eric in the face, continuing to beat him down. But even though there is the existence of the blows, Eric doesn't fight back. He has promised his mother he'll stay out of trouble. The principal and all the teachers just sit at the next table and keep eating as if nothing happened. Mara, seeing this, immediately steps in and tells Otto to stop, frustrated that they can't break Eric's stress off. Otto and Dalai decide it's Tomato change their target. Now their target is Pierre, Eric's roommate and his only friend at the school during lunch. Otto, Pierre over, but Pierre refuses, believing he has done nothing wrong to Otto. Otto, however, isn't the type to give up so easily. After the last class of Fete, he challenges Pierre to a fight, threatening him with punishment if he doesn't show up. Otto and Olin, in a carefully planned way, target Pierre to cause start anger Eric. Naturally, Eric isn't going to sit by and watch his best friend get beaten by Otto and his gang. They plan to gang up on Eric afterward, hearing no one will ever disobey Otto, and failing again, they vening Pierre is forced to accept challenge. He shows up alone at the battleground where Otto, Dallin, and their followers are already waiting. Peretris is best to fight, but their physical abilities are on complete different levels. With a single extremely easy blow, Otto knocks Pierre to the ground. Eric is nowhere to be found. His best friend lies crumpled on the ground, embarrassed in front of many people. After being treated like a joke by Otto and his gang, by thigh time, Eric arrives. It's too late. There is nothing he can do. Eric carries Pierre back to their room and treats his injuries strongly, encouraging him to rest after Mackingsver. Pierre is settled. Eric leaves their home that night. Eric meets with Marianne. They get hinted that next morning. Worried about Pierre's condition, Eric rushes back to the room, but to his surprise, the room is empty. Pierre is gone. He has taken all of his belongings, leaving no doubt that he isn't coming back to the school. He leaves only a letter apologizing for his sudden departure. In the letter, Pierre explains that Eric is a true friend and strongly encourages him not to give up. He encourages Eric to keep fighting against Otto and his followers' very bad treatment to put an end to the terribly unfair treatment that badly bothers the school. Reading the letter, Eric stands up his true resolve finally coming to these through He has decided to get revenge. Pierre and the other students who have suffered under Otto's great harm, desire to hurt others, act of hurting others with hesitation. Eric goes to the dining hall and angrily faces, stands up to Delon, challenging him, and Otto to a fight in the performing area. 1 hour later alone, Eric faces off against Elaine and Von Schienen, both of whom are big, stronger than him, but these two young tough criminals are all talk depending on Tepuar and influence of their parents. Eric, too, is a fighter and easily knocks them to the ground. Afterward, Eric threatens Otto, who is left stunned by how easily Eric has beat his strongest person, who is ridiculously overhelpful to another person. Eric tells Otto that he is next, but before dealing with Otto, Eric heads to the school kitchen to find Maria. A female staff member informs him that Maria has been and has already left the school's hands. Eric, a letter from Maria just like with Pierre. Eric feels heartbroken. The Mario's sudden departure, one of Otto's person who is ridiculously overhelpful to another person. Written statements, Eric receiving a letter from a school employee and immediately reports it to Otto. Then Addix breaks into Eric's room and orders his friends to search through Eric's belongings. Eventually they find Mario's letter. Otto reads it, and that's when he discovers and Mario's secret relationship with the letter in hand. Otto now has the event S or object S that proves something he needs to get Eric expelled. Where no time and hands over the proof off Eric's bad behavior to the principal's ticket order to appear in court. Eric, and with hesitation, expels him for committing a serious offense with Mara. Eric accepts the punishment with grace. However, he asks the principal to read Mario's letter to him, as it is the only memory he has of her. The principal emphasis and locks the letter away in his drawer. You do your best, your beauty, and have decided to get revenge. All the suffering Otto has caused during his time at Starberg. Eric sets his sights on his enemy. After all, he has already been. There is nothing left to lose. Asterisk, he tracks Otto down and finds him walking alone in the woods, angrily facing, standing up, Toheen. Eric raises a stick and threatens Otto, demanding that he kneel. To Eric's surprise, Otto obeys, immediately dropping to his knees. In the sheer panic, Otto, without hope, very upset and very scared, offers Eric a payment of money to get a favor, 10-0 to spare his life, but Eric refuses as he prepares to strike. Otto, the boy, breaks down completely, sobbing extremely, wildly emotionally, and begging for his life. He even vomits in fear. Eric then cups Otto's face and tells him that he won't kill him. Isn't like Otto, who takes pleasure in pressing the weak with that Eric returns to the school to gather his belongings. He then remembers Gunnar Thelawir, who has told him to reach out if ever needs help. Without delay, Eric calls Gunnar. It isn't long before Thelawir arrives at Starberg. After explaining his situation to Gunnar, Eric goes to angrily stand up to the principal, who is enjoying drinks with the teachers, professors, and a sophist. Eric pleads with him not to expel him from the school and to return Mario's letter. At first, the principal refuses, but then Gunnar enters the room, threatening to expose the school's culture of caste, unfair treatment based on skin color, age, etc., and bullying, which has been on purpose ignored by the principal and the rest of staff. Faced with no other choice, the principal gives in to all of Eric's demands and breaks up the student group of people who advise or govern, led by Otto. Long story short, Eric is incredibly thankful to Gunnar because it means he can stay in school and permanently end by force Otto and his followers Roulef. Very bad treatment. Eric enjoys peaceful days actual until the graduation. Is Mathoris proud and made extremely happy. Sid with all the challenging things accomplished or completed Eric has made during his time at Starberg. However, his stepfather remains made unhappy because of Eric's poor behavior process of figuring out the worth, amount, or quality of something at school. When a stepfather prepares to whip him again, Eric fights back, declaring it will be the last time violence is used in their home. He then kicks his stepfather out of the house. Time later, Eric finally who is preparing to continue his studies in Geneva. The two friends promise each other that they will meet again someday. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe us.